Good morning and welcome to Chassidus in the AM. I am your host, Shmuel Stengi, coming at you from the hills of Hebron here in Eretz Yisrael. We're learning Chassidus, we're talking Torah, we're talking music, and we're fusing Torah with Simcha, which are the key to redemption. We're going to pick up with a theme that we started yesterday, just talking about a little bit in depth of the Tzadik, and because we had mentioned yesterday that there was a certain special relationship of not only father and son, but also Tzadik to Chassid, or Rebbe to Talmud, between Avram and Yitzchak, and there was a certain fusion of their souls that led to the continuity of the Jewish people. We were looking at a Ketushas Levi, and I mentioned a book. I dropped a book title on y'all, which is David Dombrowsky's with Jonathan Rietti, his book Uman Rosh Hashanah with the real Tzadik Olam. I'm going to be reading a few excerpts from this, and then we're also going to be taking a look at some Reb Nosson on Parshas Told Us. So it's going to be a great episode. Buckle in. First, we're going to take a little musical journey with our good friend Levi Robin, who is an American Hasidic folk singer based in Huntington Beach, California. I was listening to some of his music today, and I always go back to it as a favorite. Such soulful, real, beautiful tunes. So now we're going to play the song Mighty Waters from Levi Robin, and then I'll see you guys on the other side. Enjoy.
My heart grows weary, my eyes lie, and I've lost all feeling. So now I float, don't wanna sink down this moat, blurring the sand. No mighty waters, yeah, put me out. No river can wash me away, 'cause I call to you and you answer me with an open hand and mercy. I long to follow your ways, I search you out till the end of my days. Fortunate ones, call in your name. You know you're one, you and your name. No mighty waters.
And we're back. Mighty waters. No, these mighty waters will not stop us from serving Hashem. Thank you, Levi, for putting it into such a beautiful melody and lyrics. Hope you're doing well, wherever you are out there. So, as I mentioned yesterday, I sort of touched on the theme of the book by Jonathan Rietti and David Dombrowsky. Shout out David Dombrowsky, a good buddy of mine from Ramat Beit Shemesh, and Rabbi Rietti, I know less, but they put together wonderful work here about basically sources from all over Torah where you could see the centrality of the concept of a tzaddik, and it also goes into in depth in terms of how Chazal and our sages over the generations have described the tzaddik. So I want to read a little bit. Maybe we'll make this like a theme, weekly theme or something like that in the podcast, where we learn a little bit from this book, because I think it's a very important book. I think a lot of times there's confusion or misconceptions surrounding this concept, and people sort of think, hey, what's going on with this whole tzaddik business? Isn't this avodah zarah? Isn't this close to Christianity, chas v'shalom? So this book does a really, really good job of clarifying it and giving us a taste of, just how kind of non-controversial this concept really is in terms of mainstream Yiddishkeit and mainstream sources in Judaism. So I'm going to read a little bit here from an excerpt, a section of the book. This is on page 17, and this section of the book is called "The Tzaddik is the Yesod, the foundation of the world." And And the authors write, from the following statements of Chazal in the Talmud, Midrash, Zohar, and Kisvei, we will attempt to show how our sages sometimes use the label of tzaddik to describe someone who is clearly not an ordinary tzaddik, but rather an extraordinary tzaddik, right? This idea of tzaddik yisod olam, that there's one or several in each generation that Hashem scatters, that the whole world rests upon. Rabbi Eliezer said, the world was created for even one tzaddik. This is in Maseches Yoma 38b. When the Talmud says tzaddik in this context, can it mean, as defined earlier by Ramchal, that the entire world was created for a person who just keeps to the letter of the law? Or does it refer to a tzaddik of such magnitude that his existence is enough reason to create the world? It appears we are referring to an extremely rare and unique tzaddik, like the Tzadik Emes. For him, it would be worth creating the whole world. Rabbi Yochanan said, the entire world is sustained for even one tzaddik. He cites the verse in Mishlei as support. The tzaddik is the foundation of the world. It's Tzadik Yisod Olam. It's a pasuk in the 10th parak of Mishlei. Rabbi Yochanan does not say that tzaddikim are the foundation of the world, but rather just one tzaddik. It appears that he is referring to one unique tzaddik, the Tzadik Emes, a tzaddik whose only desire is to save the whole world by bringing everyone close to Hashem. We're going to pause there, but we see that based on this Gemara in Yoma and obviously the pasuk in Mishlei, that this is just a drop in the bucket, really, guys. But you see here that there's an explanation of, for example, who Avram Avinu was. Avram Avinu was a Tzadik Emes who was praying for the whole world, who was trying to bring the whole world closer to Hashem, and only from such a tzaddik can the Jewish people stem from. And so too, in terms of the continuity of the Jewish people, Eila told us, Yitzchak, Abraham Elidas Yitzchak, right? That the Tolda, that the continuity, the actions of Yitzchak were only possible when he inherited some of that tzaddik quality. That's what I'm calling it, but I'm kind of vamping off of what we said in the Kedushas Levi. When he received the ability to act in the world as a Tzadik Emes. Eila told us Yitzchak ben Avram Holidas Yitzchak, that again we said that Yitzchak was from a neshama, from a sitra de nukva, from the feminine side, and he inherited from Avraham the masculine side. There was a certain part of Avram Avinu's neshama, says the Kedushas Levi, that Avram bestowed upon Yitzchak, and this kind of gave Yitzchak, after the time of the Akedah, a certain completeness. And we said also, but in the Kedushas Levi, that it's impossible to for the Jewish people to have stemmed from anyone other than somebody who was holding on a very, very righteous level. And maybe, we can connect the concepts here found in this book and also with what we saw in the Kedushas Levi, that it makes sense, since throughout Jewish history, the tzaddik has been such a pivotal and indeed essential element for the Jewish people carrying out their mission. It would make sense that Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, they were also of that same kind of elevated personage, people to be called, Tzadik Emes. And it's not like we said, it's not like some kings. It's not a hereditary passing down who's going to be the next king of Israel. No, it's something else entirely. The Avos, Masei Avosim and Labanim, the Avos each had an incredible level of righteousness, that they were on this level of being a Tzadik Emes, and they laid the groundwork for the Jewish people. So that's from yesterday, and this is sort of an introduction taste to this book, which is a very, very important Hasidic work, in my opinion. Uman Rosh Hashanah with the real Tzadik Yisod Olam, and maybe we'll read more from it in the coming days, coming months. But yeah, grab your copy on Amazon. I'm going to link it below. Grab your ebook, your Kindle book. And just after this musical break, we're going to hear some more from Levi Robin. Haven't decided what song yet, but it's going to be good vibes. So we'll play some more of that, and then we'll dive into some Reb Nosson on the other side.
Young man having trouble home, lives in double faces. The mirror stares at him with eyes that tell him begin life. Search and you'll come to find. No bags, no time, just a heart and a hand to write down. Soul's thirst for water in an endless desert sky. The sun will rise, gotta make it through the night. The sun will rise off in the cold night, up beneath the desert sky. My love came to me in the flash of bright lights in the dark as I opened up my eyes, open for a ride. Then I saw a light. Cold air seeps by its through ripped out clothes as it clutches a bargain knife. Visions in his mind of his mom and dad mourning his flight. His heart grows warm, knowing he's gotta go home.
And welcome back. So I haven't really been doing that on the podcast, sort of carrying themes from one day to the next. We've sort of just been looking at individual sources and playing tunes and trying to have a good time with the learning. But I think it was kind of blew my kalim a little bit, blew my mind when, just seeing it, the way the Kedushas Levi yesterday explained it. Just, the fact that the significance of how, from Avram came Yitzchak and Ishmael, but it was Dafka Yitzchak that merited to be the continuation of the Jewish people, just because of the level of that, the fact that he was a special tzaddik, and just that the whole thing is that our nation is built on, spiritual excellence and ethical magnificence, and that is the foundation of the tradition of Yiddishkeit. It's not power, it's not money, it's not fame, it's not passed down from father to son in terms of meriting who the leader is going to be. It's all based on spiritual qualities and ethical qualities, and it's a powerful thing. And I think it's a big theme of this parsha as well, because of course in this parsha you have the birth of Esav, and Esav again is a firstborn that doesn't really make the cut. However, Yitzchak Avinu initially is of the impression that seemingly that Esav is going to be the next in line to inherit, right, the line of Israel, the line of this nation of Israel, the nation that Hashem promised to give them, the land of Israel, the land of Canaan, that they would be a special nation for Hashem. And in this piece in Likutei Halachos on this parsha, so it's a short piece, but Reb Nosson kind of explains a little bit the background of why Yitzchak might have had that misconception, and what the special quality is of Azus de Kedusha. Azus. Azus de Kedusha. Versus Azus not Kedusha. What would we say Azus is? Azus is like, Azus of not Kedusha is like, passing people on the highway on the right side. That's the example that jumped into my mind of Azus of not a Kedusha, or any crime really, like go rob some person at gunpoint is gall, right? It's like it's unholy gall and arrogance, and just like the nerve of that guy. So there's nerve of Tuma, and there's nerve and gall of Kedusha, where you're like, I don't care about any of the obstacles. I'm doing this. I'm going for this. Yeah, I'm going to talk to Hashem. Who cares if I did this, that, and that, and that? But you have to have a certain Azus to Kedusha, as Reb Nosson is going to explain. V'yetze harishon admoni, and the first child came out red, right, with a red skin hue. V'alkein haya David admoni im yefei einayim, and so too David was a reddish hue, and he had nice eyes. He had beautiful eyes. This is the aspect of azus de kedusha, of holy gall. That's the best I got right now. He fought the war of Hashem. Because the ikar holiness of kedusha, kingdom of holiness, comes through this gall, this gall of holiness, this nerve of holiness. Right, azus is also connected purely to the word, to the root oz, which is strength. So it's like a holy strength, a holy, just like courage to do what needs to be done. And this is the key point of our parsha. This is why Yitzchak made a mistake by Esav. That he came out reddish. He thought that the strength of this midah, this quality of, like, I guess, a violent tendency or a strength, came from the side of a strength of kedusha, of a gall of holiness. Mechamad shaya tzaid b'fiv, shaya mirame es aviv heich ma'asrin esateven ki'ilu hu tzadik. He would, the tzaid b'fiv, as Rashi explains, that he would try to trick his father by like asking him and talking to him and learning regarding trumas and maisras and tevin as if he was a tzadik. V'alkein savar Yitzchak shegam hadmimut shebo shemara shu shofech damim. So because of the trickery of Esav, Yitzchak also thought that even the admimus in him, his redness, which was a kind of hinting to or reflected that this quality of shofech damim, of spilling the blood, meaning of violence and murder, also b'chinas azus de kedusha sheroitz lisgaber neged ha'ivri maldas. It also came from a place of holy gall, of holy nerve, of holy ois, of strength, and he wants to win out against people who are oiver on Hashem, the people who are people who are going against Hashem. That's what Yitzchak Avinu thought. Kikvar mevuar ba'Torah choisam b'sei choisam b'siman chaf beis shetzrichim nispal al Hashem yizbarach sheyizkeh le'avchin ben azus de kedusha shal yado binyan Yerushalayim uvein azus de sitr achra shebechinas oiz panim legehenom. That if we daven to Hashem yizbarach, that we should merit to be able to discern between holy strength and holy chutzpah. Chutzpah, that's the word I've been looking for. Holy chutzpah versus non-holy, and holy chutzpah. Through the holy chutzpah, there's going to be binyan Yerushalayim, says Reb Nosson, which is very interesting. Versus distinguishing between the holy chutzpah to the non-holy chutzpah. That leads to that leads only to Gehenna. Shezeh b'chinas yihiratzon shetivne ircha b'mherav yameinu. Sheniskar be'emtza ha'mishnah have'az kenamer ayin sham. Okay, so in that Mishnah there's the hiratzon that the Beis Hamikdash will be. This is a hint of why we say that Binyan Yerushalayim is going to come through Azus de Kedusha, because it's hinted to in that Mishnah that tells you in the Pirkei Avos az kenamer, be have chutzpah like a leopard, or be swift and strong like a leopard. I think that's what namer is, right? Leopard, ayin sham. We'll finish the Torah. There's a few more lines here. Ve'alkein afilu tzadikim gdolim yicholim litois bazeh kmo sheta Yitzchak be'esav. That is to say that even other great tzadikim, I'm putting the word other here in parentheses. Other great tzadikim not only would have made the same mistake by Esav, not just Yitzchak. Other tzadikim would have made the same mistake. Because again, he was tricking Yitzchak, and he had this admimus, he had this fire, this kind of violent tendencies, and since it was known, it is known that this is such an important. Ultimately, this is the midah of David HaMelech to have that quality, but on the side of kedusha. So by seeing Esav and who he was and what he was saying, it would have been easy to fall into that trap. From the opposite side, Shmuel Hanavi also thought, he wasn't sure about David HaMelech, whether he was Azus de Kedusha or Azus de Tuma. Ulai hu b'chinas Azus de Sitrach. Maybe David HaMelech was the Azus from the other side. Kmo she'isam midrash. Parshas told us, Parshas Samech Gimel. V'kevan shera'a Shmuel es David Admoni v'chulei. Nisyar v'amar, when Shmuel saw, like, I guess, again, what he looked like, and he had this reddish hue, which again reflects violence, he said, he said, oh, this one is also a murderer like Esav. Amar lo Kodesh Baruch Hu, Kodesh Baruch Hu said to him, Im yefei einayim. Look at his eyes. Esav midas atzma hu hareg, aval zeh v'chulei. Esav was killing of his own volition. He was just killing for his own gain. Aval zeh, but this one, look at his eyes. You can see that his milchama is for Hashem. His killing is l'shem shamayim. His killing is to do the will, is to do sort of the difficult acts, the difficult violent acts that need to happen in the service of Hashem's mission. Look at his eyes. It's interesting that the eyes reflect that. The eyes reflect that the eyes are the gates of the soul, they say. Sometimes it's hard to distinguish between this azus de kedusha and azus de sidra achra. Shum sitra de Esav, uvein azus de kedusha shu bechinas malchus David Mashiach. It's hard to distinguish ultimately between the aspect of Esav and the aspect of David HaMelech, which is the bechinas of malchus David Mashiach. Between Esav killing wantonly for your own gain and mamish killing for the purpose or violence or the wars that need to be waged in order to bring Mashiach, which is the quality of David Melech Mashiach. So this little piece jumped out at me, just because I think that it's a lot of times, like, there's a lot to be said with it for this piece ultimately, and sometimes the truth, it's like Nosson says, Kol olam kol gesher tzar ma'od. It's hanging on a breadth of a hair that this person seems like a terrible violent person, but really he has the potential. He was just like a little bit different, and he has the potential of having the midah, the quality of Melech HaMashiach, and just how these things can get could be so close to each other, and difficult to discern ultimately. Like it's a very fine line. It's like it's a very fine line. It's not black and white. That's not meant to be a pun regarding the redness. And we have to daven, says Reb Nosson, to be able to distinguish the real azus de kedusha with azus de sitra achra. And I think within ourselves, I think that there's I'll talk about myself. Everybody has a little bit of everybody has this azus in him, this nerve, this gall, this strength. And I think we have to daven, and sometimes if you're afraid to let it out, you're like, wait, I'm gonna go and I'm gonna be a kanai now. I'm gonna impose my will around the people around me, or I'm gonna go and do extra things for Hashem, or I'm gonna go and not to be stereotypical, but I'm gonna go to that shir, I'm gonna go to that daf yomi, or I'm gonna go do that mitzvah. That even doesn't matter what anybody says about me. And sometimes a person doesn't want to rock the boat. But based on this Torah, I think it's important just to daven to Hashem that we should be zoicha, we should merit. Because one thing for sure is the azus that a person has. I could speak, for men. I'm a man, if you haven't noticed, so it's easier for me to speak for men. Men have this azus, and one thing is for sure, it can't be suppressed. If you suppress this azus, this strength, this warrior, this inner warrior, it's not good. So, but then again, in terms of our lifestyle, sometimes it's hard to really express that inner warrior because of sort of the tepid residential lifestyles that we live. So again, I think maybe it's a chizuk for us to keep asking Hashem, keep diving to Hashem, because we see the midah of azus to kedusha will build the base of Hamikdash, this holy nerve, this holy fire, this holy warrior, inner warrior is ultimately what's going to break down all the barriers and build the base of Hamikdash, both within ourselves, within each individual Jew, which will lead to the building of the base of Hamikdash, the physical base of Hamikdash on Har Bayis and Bias Mashiach. So, all you warriors out there, let's keep being warriors. Let's use our azus for good, holy things. I'm going to play it out with a little bit more Levi Robin. Shkoyach for listening. Catch you guys later.
sky. My love came to me in a flash of bright light. In the dark as I opened up my eyes, hoping for a ride, then I saw a light.